Hey kawan, welcome to EDCReady. Today, I want to do one of these discussion type of videos, and it's based off of a comment in one of my previous videos by a gentleman named Wei Chong. So Wei Chong, thank you very much for the comment. He asked me to do a vid on how I got into EDC. He said that he was always interested in finding out on how people found their way into this world and into this hobby. So as I commented below, that's a great idea. I will do it soon, and here I am, and I am doing it. So to start off this video, we're gonna go a little bit into like memory lane. We're gonna go into the past, talk about young Riel. Young Riel was always a fan of Spider-Man, he still is, and then let me build up the story with how I got into EDC. So first things first, my first intro into the world of EDC, I didn't know that was the whole concept of EDC, but my intro into the world of EDC was actually through my dad. So my dad actually, when he was studying in America, carried around a Victorinox Huntsman, and then he also carried a Maglite. So this was his EDC when he was going around like working at restaurants in America or whatever when he was studying in the States. So by the time I was about 8 or 9 years old, I actually found this in one of his drawers. You know, as a kid, you're kind of going around the house, sneaking through drawers to see what you can find, and then I found this, and then I just went up to him and I asked him about it, and he said that this was his Swiss Army knife when he was studying in America, and then he asked me if I wanted it, and I said yes, and then he said, okay, you can hold on to it, and then when you're older, I will give you this knife. So it's very much my knife now, and just as at the time, I think that he actually like gave it to me when I was about 13 or 14, and that was my intro into the world of EDC despite not knowing what EDC meant. So this is one of those old Huntsmen where it does not have the little hook. So the new ones have like a little hook right there. I don't know what it's for, but I'm sure it has some uses. This is a very simple Maglite. I do not know what model it is. I know it's a mini Maglite. I don't know how many lumens it puts out. All I know is that the light is relatively warm, and then it's really spotty, and it takes 2 AA batteries. So after that, I started to look up online as I got a little bit older, and I stumbled upon a company called Blade HQ. And even then, so I knew from that there was something in the world of pocket knives. I did not know it as EDC yet. I just knew that, okay, there's more than just Swiss Army knives out there. There were other knives. And then in my late teens, I was doing a lot of martial arts, and then I finally got a little bit of money, so I got myself this knife. You guys have probably seen this knife on my, the review of this knife on my channel. This is the Mantis Balisong Karambit. Karambit because there's a lot of heritage of Karambit in martial arts here in Southeast Asia, and also the butterfly effect. It was a knife I bought before I knew anything about knives. So it's very much a knife for a cool factor. It's the knife that makes you go wow, and really nothing much else. And that's kind of what I based it on. I saw the overview video on Blade HQ, and I'm like, wow, that's a cool knife, and I got this knife. Now moving forward from there, a couple of years later, me and my family went on a holiday trip to Switzerland, and in the holiday trip to Switzerland we stopped at a knife store, and because I was already aware of a Swiss Army knife or Victorinox knives, we stopped by a shop that had a Victorinox knife, and I got this one. This is the this is the Victorinox Soldier. Serrated blade. Definitely I've used this blade more than all the other blades I've had. I used this blade when I was moving, a lot of unpackaging boxes, a lot of this, a lot of that. Definitely I've used this a lot. By the way, I've used this quite a lot too. I've used this for many school projects and events. So this is pretty roughed up as well. I'm going to do a full review of this guy. But this knife, this blade right here, it's already gone dull. The short blade is still sharp, so I use that if I need to cut up anything. And then we get to this knife right here. This knife, what made this special was that, number one, I love the OD green and the black. That's kind of my thing. Secondly, this was a knife of, this is a Swiss Army knife bought in Switzerland itself. So it's kind of like buying a I Love New York t-shirt in New York. So it had that little bit of memory, a little bit of nostalgia right there. And even at this time, I knew there were knives out there. I knew there were folding knives. I knew about paramilitaries. I know about Kershaw's and all that. However, I did not know about the world of EDC yet. So we transitioned from I like knives, I like multi-tools, that transition into the world of EDC. So that happened, honestly, in my mid-20s, I got married, and then a year later, my daughter was born. And then, I don't know why, And this is kind of like something I realized in the EDC world here in Malaysia. Almost every EDC person here is a father. Okay, there's probably one or two that are not married, okay, but everyone else is married, everyone else is a dad. So I don't know if it's like a paternal instinct or a husband instinct to get into knives, to get into tools, to be more efficient at home in life, or to be a better father and protector. I don't know, but that's when I discovered exactly what EDC was. That's when I discovered what it meant. That's when I discovered that this whole realm of EDC. So the first EDC knife I got was a QSP Deva, and then the very second knife I got was a Gunzo with a G-lock, or patently an axis lock, but they can't call it an axis lock, they call it a G-lock. And then that is kind of how I got into the world. And then I got into other stuff. I got into more expensive, more premium brands like the Spyderco. I got into other stuff like an art company, pocket organizer. I got into EDC pens. I got into flashlights. I got into tiny multi-tools like the squirt in here. So to answer your question, Wei Cheong, thank you very much for asking that question. I got into the world of EDC based on a factor of few reasons. And this serves as the conclusion. Number one, I was kind of introduced to the concept of everyday carry with my dad, even though I didn't know what it was. I got introduced to the content of everyday carry through Blade HQ and realizing that there is a world of folding knives out there. And then when I went overseas and I went to Switzerland, got myself a little Swiss Army knife. And then when I got married, then when my daughter was born, I don't know, it could have been a paternal instinct to get into it, but that is when I really started looking into tools to carry on an everyday basis, such as knives, pens, watches, Leatherman squirts, flashlights, and what have you. Okay guys, so that's the end of the video. Hope you guys enjoyed this, and please comment down below how you got into the EDC world. Okay, thanks guys, and as always, stay ready.